Okay, so hello and welcome everyone to the Buddhist Recovery Network Academy. I'm Susanna and I'm joining you from Helsinki, Finland, and I will be your host today. I'm a big fan of Buddhism, recovery, and Buddhist recovery. I facilitate both 8-step recovery meetings and mindfulness-based addiction recovery courses here in Finland, and I am a member of the Buddhist Recovery Network board. And today we have a very special Academy teaching offered by Kevin Griffin, who is coming back every year. I'm very grateful. We are all very grateful for that. And for me, especially, this is a very big occasion because Kevin's books and book this One Breath at a Time, Buddhism and 12 Steps was a turning point for me. It was a book from where I learned about Buddhist recovery. So yeah, it's very, I'm very especially grateful for Kevin for writing that book. And I know that I'm not alone with this, which you can recognize from the number of people that we have here. We have 93 people at the moment. And so the topic of the teaching is beginning again. I'm going to tell a little bit more about Kevin and the teaching in just a moment. But before that, just a few practical things. And I want to thank everybody for being here, being part of our community today. And a few words about Dharma, because it's a very important Buddhist practice. All of our teachings are given freely, and we're blessed with to have some amazing teachers who have experience on the cushion, experience working with the body, speech and mind, experience in the ongoing practice of recovery by the way of Dharma. As we practice the Buddha's teaching of generosity, we invite you to give dana, the dana that will be given to support our ongoing Buddhist Recovery Network meetings and to support the teacher. You can give on a one-time or recurring basis using the link posted in the chat field by our tech host. Please be sure to indicate that your donation is for the Academy, and we sincerely thank you for your generosity. And if you forget to mention that it's for the Academy, we usually can track the donations that come in during the Academy, usually meant for Academy. Okay, and now for the most important points of the evening, why we are all here. I'd like to introduce our guest teacher. So Kevin Griffin is a Buddhist teacher and author best known for his work integrating Dharma and recovery. He's a co-founder of the Buddhist Recovery Network and the author of several books, including One Breath at a Time, Buddhism and the 12 Steps. He has been practicing insight meditation for over 40 years and teaching since the late 1990s. His recovery dates from 1985. I was 11 at the time. He has taught in a wide range of settings, including, hopefully I pronounced it correct, Esalen, Kripalu and Omega Institute, diverse Buddhist centers, academic and research institutions, treatment centers, rehabs, and prisons. His latest book is Lovingkindness, Metta Teaching for the whole of our lives, an exploration of the broad meaning and purpose of the Buddha's teachings on loving kindness. His interest in the suttas of the Pali Canon is now a prime source of study and teachings. And as said before, the topic of teaching is beginning again. This is what Kevin says about the topic. As the new year starts, we renew our commitment to recovery and practice. This talk will focus on the importance of persistence and continuity in practice and recovery, the importance of finding joy in simple experiences of life, in breathing, in walking, in being with others. Welcome, Kevin. It's always a pleasure to have you back with us, and the screen is all yours.
Thank you, Susanna. That's lovely. And it's always a risk for me to describe what I'm going to talk about in advance because I don't usually like to plan what I say. So I'll try to talk about that topic, but we'll meditate, but I wanted to sort of do a pre-meditation, just reflection a little bit, without taking too much time. But first of all, to say thank you for having me here, and it's so nice that people are showing up. And here we are, 100 people in recovery on New Year's morning, and hopefully, like me, you're not hungover. Hopefully the New Year's morning is like a bright, wonderful time rather than a time of regret and shame and feeling sick. So, most people celebrate New Year's Eve, but we can celebrate New Year's Day. And as I was reflecting on giving a talk for the Academy, the Buddhist Recovery Network Academy, I realized that it is 15 years since I was part of a small group of people who founded this organization. So I just really wanted to acknowledge that and say a little bit about that founding. It was Paul St. Tillan, an Australian gentleman, who contacted me in 2007 and suggested that there should be some kind of an organization for people, Buddhists in recovery. And I'm not somebody who likes to be part of an organization or work in an organization, but it sounded like a good idea. And so he organized it all, which is kind of what, and I just showed up, and we had a meeting in Oregon in Cannon Beach. And there were just a few people there, and we sort of hashed out the ideas and came up with the name Buddhist Recovery Network. And I was involved. We didn't really have much more than a website to begin, because Paul already had that website. And then and we had a mission statement. The next year we had a conference, but we didn't have another conference for a long time after that. So I guess what I'm getting at is that this is just a sort of an ad hoc organization that just sort of came out of people's wish for community, but without any real clarity about what form that would take. And I'm just really, really grateful for the people who have stuck with the organization. I think I have some sort of, honorary title, like, that where I don't have to do anything, which is just how I like it. Come in and visit once in a while. But it's the people who have kept this going year after year. And many people have been on the board, come and gone, and kept developing the vision of the Buddhist Recovery Network. So that now I think it really has some credibility as an organization that really, I think it's always been a hub, a place where people could come for resources, general resources like information about where meetings are, and resources like this, teachings and community. And I like the fact that it's not affiliated with any Buddhist community or any recovery community. Everybody's invited. That was the spirit of it when we founded it, not to make it like Insight or, Shambhala or something, and not to make it 12-step or not 12-step, that we all have some basic, share some basic principles and goals, and we're not going to, keep people out. So 15 years is a significant period of time, 2008 to whatever year it is now, 2023. And so, the other thing I'll say is that if you feel inspired by this organization, maybe step up and volunteer. People like Susanna are just people who were inspired and decided to help out. And it's really a worthy cause and a worthy organization. And I'm really proud to be affiliated with it. So that all said, let's meditate for a few minutes, and then we'll get on to the topic of beginning again. And of course, our meditation is just beginning again. So we've been doing this together for a few years now, just meditating in front of our computers and our phones and our tablets. So hopefully we're getting used to it. So just to settle into your posture, whatever is comfortable for you. Feeling the body breathing. Breathing in, breathing out. Letting the body soften. Even as you sit upright, alert, with dignity. The eyes can be closed or just lower the gaze so that you're turning the attention inward. We turn to the physical senses, the body and breath, sounds, sensations, and to the more subtle felt experience, the mood and mind state. In this moment in time, what's it like to be alive? What are you experiencing? Can you be at ease with whatever is arising, whether it's pleasant or otherwise? Letting the breath keep bringing you back to the here and now. Life is energy. Life is movement. Life is change. And when we sit, watch our breath, watch our experience, watch our life, this is what we see. And this is why it can be challenging just to be present, because present is not a solid thing. Present is movement. We have to watch movement. And that which is watching is also moving. So we sit, in some sense, in the middle of this energy, just being carried by it, breathing with it, allowing it, not resisting, not trying to control. Our experience tends to be dominated by thought. And so the great effort of meditation is to keep pulling ourselves out of that conditioned state, thinking, thinking, thinking. Come to the simpler experience of just being. So the breath is our connection to being. The simplest expression of life, breathing in, breathing out. Our life begins with breath, with an in-breath, and our life ends with an out-breath. Each in-breath is a birth. Each out-breath, a death. Letting go. Well, it felt like we could just keep sitting, but I have my duties here. And my printer didn't work to print out my notes, so I have to switch over to another program. Look at my notes, which means I can't see you when I'm talking. So going to go back and forth so I can see people. Yeah, the topic of beginning again was just, the obvious one for a New Year's Day talk, but of course it is so essential to our practice, to both meditation, Dharma, and to recovery. We talk about one day at a time in the 12-step world, and that's about just starting each day afresh. And if there's a relapse, then we start again. We don't sort of say, well, okay, I relapsed, never mind. I guess I can't do this. No, we keep at it, until it takes hold. And our meditation is clearly about beginning again. The mind wanders. It's just that's its job, really. It's like we get mad in our minds. Why am I thinking so much? Well, it's like saying, why am I breathing so much? Why does my heart keep beating like this? No, I mean, your mind thinking, that's the job of the mind. So we're trying to train our awareness to not be identify so much with the thoughts that we think that they are who we are, or that they are facts, or that they represent the world. So we need to learn a different perspective, and to do that, we notice that we're thinking, and then we come back to the breath, and we begin again, right? So the traditional practice in Buddhism, I think this is a good place for us to start today with our guiding principles, the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. And this is something you might consider making part of your practice, to take refuge and to take the precepts. They are the place where we begin, and they are what sustains us. So they are both the beginning, the middle, and there is no end in this case. So the 3 refuges, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. When we take refuge, this is a formal term and can be ritualized. We are really saying that this is our path. This is how we want to live. And by live, I mean externally in our behavior, but maybe more importantly, internally, how we want to view our life, view the world. So the refuge of the Buddha is, this historical being who had this breakthrough in consciousness, as we understand it, and then shared his understanding. So there's that aspect of the Buddha, this historical being who is our teacher, our root teacher, and everything that we understand, and through these 2,600 years of followers, we have this collection of teachings that came from him. But he's the root, and then each of the teachers in his lineage, has carried that on. But Buddha also represents this archetype, or even more simply, the idea of awakening. The word Buddha means awake or awakened. And so when we take refuge in that, we are trying to take refuge in some will say in our own potential for awakening, but we could also say in our actual awakening, in the awakening that we can experience right now. How that, so we could just say in being mindful, I'm simply committing, when I take refuge in the Buddha, I'm committing to being as mindful as I can be, as awake as I can be. And that's, a potential. I don't know how awake I can be. I know how awake I can be in this moment. I'm trying, we are trying. So that's taking refuge in the Buddha. And in this theme of beginning again, taking refuge means that when we get lost, which we must do inevitably because the mind is not, perfected for most of us. When we get lost, we have this North Star of, Buddha, awakened, mindfulness. I will return. I will come back. I will begin again. Then the second refuge, Dharma, is the teachings of the Buddha, which guide us. And our own inherent wisdom, our understanding of those teachings that we hold inside us. The Dharma isn't something outside us, it's something inside us. And it's, as we all know, it's so deep and profound that this is many lifetimes of study to really know what it means to take refuge in Dharma. But I use it as a protection at times in moments of despair. And in the last few years, there have been a few of those moments, at least. To remember this bigger picture. That's, to me, one of the great refuges of the Buddha. That because, in the small picture, in the daily grind of humanity on this planet, there is much to despair about, or to feel grief about, or to be traumatized by, to be afraid of. And so when I need this refuge, I remind myself that this is all impermanent. This is all changing. And if I have to, I go to the picture of the earth is impermanent and the sun is impermanent. If I really need help, I just go to, this is all. But even just to see the arc of human history and to see the rising and the falling, the wars and the ends of wars, the Buddhas arising and the dictators arising, and the Buddhas dying and the dictators dying. And so there's this picture we have, the Dharma, but it's also so rich in every moment of our life that we have this here to call upon, to remember impermanence, to remember dukkha, to remember not self, to remember mindfulness, to remember loving kindness, to remember compassion, to come back, to begin again. Yes, I need to bring love to this moment. I need to bring care to this moment. I need to bring wisdom to this moment. Remind myself, start again, come out of the confusion of the mind and come back to this moment. And the third refuge, the Sangha, here we are together, this precious, precious community. Without the Sangha, none of this happens. A Buddha alone, what is that? The Dharma without a community, what is that? It doesn't really have any meaning or purpose or, effect in the world. I mean, maybe there's some power that a Buddha mind just sitting in a cave has. Okay. But it's when the Buddha encounters the Sangha and communicates the Dharma that this has meaning. This has real value. Someone was asking me on Friday night at one of my classes, about change, about how they can, they didn't express what the problem was, but I figured it was some kind of addiction thing. And, I gave some suggestions, but I said, you need a community, to do this alone, to do any kind of inner work alone. You can meditate alone, sure, but how far is that going to go? Yeah, you can get sober or work with the addiction alone for a while, but if there isn't support around you, it's really hard to sustain. We are social beings, and this whole process depends upon us being together. It's funny, these years of the pandemic, I immediately started teaching online. And, if you were outside of Kevin, you would think, oh, Kevin's teaching, that's so nice. He's doing that for us. I've been doing it for me because I need this community. And it happens that my role is to be the talky, blah, blah person, but that's not why I feel a certain responsibility, and it's great. And I'm lucky that I have a responsibility, but it's been showing up that's kept me sane as I am. There's, debates about that, but, it's not, oh, I'm the Dharma teacher. It's like, I'm just a member of the Sangha who happens to have this role. So that's, to me, the formality of the beginning again. And then secondly, the precepts that I commit to not steal, to not kill, to not kill, to not steal, to not lie, to not harm sexually, to not use intoxicants. And I actually want to fix that, because the not harming sexually is the third precept, and the lying comes after that. So, but these precepts are something, again, that I have to return to. And we take the precepts on a daily basis. We commit to these things. And they lay the foundation for our encounter with the Buddha, for our potential for mindfulness. They lay the foundation for our capacity to understand and practice the Dharma. And they lay, most importantly, the foundation for community, for the Sangha. So they are principles on which all of this is built, to live in a non-harming way. And just like the refuges, they are things that we have to keep renewing. So, renewal is what beginning again is about. And it's, essential to our recovery, because whether it's actual relapse or it's just a wandering mind, or maybe breaking a precept, we fail. We all fail, fail. We have some, right and wrong idea that we set up, but okay. Those are useful for us. And how we start again, if we start again, is the critical piece of this. Because even if it's just the wandering mind, we can turn our failure, I'm putting that in air quotes, we can turn that failure into a story about who we are and something lacking in us, or some shortcoming, something unworthy. And instead of seeing ourselves as just imperfect human beings who must inevitably fail, not live up to perfection, we see ourselves as uniquely flawed. And then we internalize that and carry that with us. And we are wounding ourselves day by day, moment by moment, with those thoughts, with those beliefs, with the feelings that arise with that, the toxic feelings that arise with that. And so this beginning again, this forgiveness is inherently includes forgiveness and self-compassion. These are vital elements of our Dharma practice, of our recovery, of our humanity. So what does this mean, failure, forgiveness, and self-compassion? I think of these as partners. But forgiveness is tricky, right? Because, there's this feeling sometimes, oh, if I forgive other people, then I'm letting them off the hook. They're not, I'm not holding them responsible. But that kind of forgiveness, I can't let anybody off the hook. Everybody is responsible for their own karma. Even if I say, oh, it's okay, I forgive you, they still have to deal with the karma. So I don't have to worry. I'm not responsible for making sure that they experience the results of their karma. The law of karma takes care of that. But more important, for myself, what am I creating by not forgiving myself? I'm just creating more suffering for myself and perpetuating a self-destructive cycle. If what I want is to grow, to become like a better person, or, establish my recovery, or get a deeper meditation practice, judging myself, is only holding me back. And yet we know that we have to make an effort, that we need to be responsible. So, I think it's very typical of maybe of an addict or whatever kind of dysfunction we have as individuals, or each of us has our own, story. But it's very typical that we have this idea of where we want to get to, and the very idea itself keeps us from getting there because of our judgment about it. And so we have to learn the difference between self-judgment and motivation. How do we motivate ourselves without self-judgment? And it's actually through love, through caring for ourselves. Do I care about myself? I don't like so much the idea of self-love, like with loving kindness, like, oh, I love myself, I'm so wonderful. Like, yeah, I'm okay, but self-care is something, yes, I can relate to that. I care about myself. I do care about myself. I want to be healthy and happy. I want to be a good person. I care about those things. So I just ask myself, how would I take care of this person? Oh, well, what does this person need? Oh, first, like in the morning, he needs some, like, to brush his teeth, and get clean. That feels good. I mean, these are basics, but they're real things, especially for addicts. Sometimes we forget these things. And then I need to meditate. I find that if it really feels good when I take care of myself with meditation. Then I need to have healthy food. So here I am. And then I need to get exercise. And then I need to do something, a kind of work that I find gratifying. So this is like self-care, right? And this is how I get things done. Not by saying, I should meditate, I should eat better, I should take a shower. No, that doesn't feel good. That's not self-love. That's not care. That's this mean voice, right? I mean, I guess we all have some version of that mean voice. So self-care, then, also connects with joy, which was something that I heard when Susanna read the description of what I was going to talk about. I recovered a spiritually recovered life, whatever we want to call ourselves, Buddhist in recovery, includes happiness, includes joy, includes finding joy. And where do we find that? This practice is actually meant to help you to find joy. It's quite striking. When you look at the 7 factors of enlightenment, right there in the middle of it is joy. It's right there, right before concentration. So we can think of Buddhism as this sort of dreary, like, oh, I need to meditate more, just really do my practice and sit. Or as recovery too can be like this long gray thing. Well, there's no fun anymore. I just can't do. But it's not that at all. What it is actually tuning into the inherent joy in life. It's very interesting. The breath, from the viewpoint of ordinary consciousness, the breath is not interesting. The breath is a neutral experience. But the power of attention, the power of mindfulness, transforms that simple, neutral experience into something joyful. And so this is the power of the Dharma. It's not that you meditate and then you go out and go to the amusement park to find some joy. Oh, I need to go on a roller coaster because that's where I really love that. No, it's that you meditate and you learn that as the mind becomes more subtle, as attention becomes more subtle, you realize that the joy is right here already, in the breath, in the body, in the senses, in the felt experience. This is one of the ways that this practice frees us from addiction. Because our addiction, and part of our addiction, is a search for joy. It's a search for transcendence, something to make life magical. And it, can be pretty magical to be, wasted. It doesn't, lead to good things. Unfortunately, karmically, it's not a good strategy. But when we discover that through just the applied use of our attention, by applying our attention in this special way, that we can actually transform the simplicity and the neutral experience of just breath and life into joy. And we realize we don't need to intoxicate ourselves, that life itself holds this joy for us. Well, as usual, I've gone somewhere that was not on the agenda or not in my plan. So today, this idea we have of a new year, which is, of course, just a human construction, but useful, and it's useful because it reminds us of the possibility of renewal, of the possibility of beginning again. And of course, we can begin again in every moment. But this is a good time. In the Northern Hemisphere, the winter, and it's a time of hibernation, of going inside, literally indoors, but also of going inside. It's a great time of year for meditation and for retreat time. And then for reflection. So in very practical terms, yes, it is a time to say, how do I want to start this year? Or what do I want to renew? Or what do I want to make new? And, it's a cliche that, we make a resolution and then we stick to it for a couple of weeks. And by February, it's gone, So it's really important to remind ourselves that every moment is actually a new year. If we decide that, February 10th is the beginning of the year, it's the same thing, because a year is just going around the sun once. So every day is the beginning and the end of a year. And to keep renewal, to keep the idea of beginning again fresh, that I don't have to wait 12 months for a resolution, that I can set that each day. This is what our practice is. This is my daily practice includes reflecting on what's called the 5 daily contemplations. This is seeing the impermanent nature of all experience, permanent nature of my life, this thing I think is mine, which of course is not mine because I don't control it. The impermanent nature of everything around me, of everyone around me. Impermanence is another way of saying that every moment is a new beginning. So living with that principle, that transformation is possible in each moment, that enlightenment is here in each moment. So I'll leave it at that for now. I hope these words have been helpful for you